My husband, 30 years old, has severe abandonment trauma caused by his mother. She dropped him off on his dad's doorstep when he was 5. He had only met his dad a handful of times at that point and took off for a year. During that year, his dad dropped him off on the Department of Health and Human Services (DHHS) doorstep, and he ended up in foster care. When his mom finally fought to regain custody, 7 months later, she regained custody just to give guardianship to her oldest daughter, 24 at the time. Then, she was in and out of my husband's life until he was maybe 19, when her presence became more permanent. I met him when he was 22 and he was still living with his sister. I have always hated his mom for what she did to him, but it was set in stone after I miscarried our child. Him and I had been together maybe 5 months. I was 10 weeks, 5 days. She came to our house unannounced to check on her son as I was bleeding out and said to him, "It's for the best, honey." She didn't say 2 words to me. She just told him it was best that my child died. For the past 8 years, she has always shot him down. He wanted to move out of state, and she convinced him not to. Every time he wants to take a certain career path, she convinces him not to. Instead, she tries convincing him to go work with her at a rehab facility, making pennies on the dollar. If he wants to sell one of his vehicles, she convinces him to just give it to her instead. And now that we have a daughter, things are just getting worse. For whatever reason, she decided to tell us at our baby shower that she was indifferent about me being pregnant. And then, when I was giving birth, she literally showed up and waltzed right into the labor and delivery room and clung to my husband. She told all the nurses she came to support her baby, "I just came here to hold my baby up." Not once did she ask how I was or if I needed anything. I told her to get the frick out. My husband, surprisingly, screamed at her to get out after she didn't listen to me. It was a big brownie points moment for him. I was so damn proud. But anyways, since our daughter is now 2 months old, he has been talking about starting his own business. His mom showed up here yesterday and he was talking to her about it. She told him that he should leave the state and start working and secure a place down there and send for us. Now, keep in mind, as I said above, she literally convinced him not to leave the state years ago. So this is a fricked up way for her to get him away from me and the baby. And he truly is so dense that he doesn't see it because she's never openly told anyone that she doesn't like me. She's never shoot-talked me. It's always so sugar-coated that it's nearly impossible to pick up on it unless you're looking for it. But anyways, I said, my husband is not leaving me and the baby to go secure anything out of state. She said something like, "It would be best for everyone. There are more opportunities." So I snapped and said, "Oh, so you want him to abandon us like you abandoned him? Sure, babe. Go ahead and leave for a year. Maybe I will drop the baby off on DHHS's doorstep too and make the situation more comfortable for your mom. Time to cut the freaking umbilical cord and be done with this woman, or you can be done with me." My mother-in-law turned and slammed out of the house, called my husband, and said, "Make a choice right now, me or her. That toxic witch stays and you will never see me again." Now, my husband won't talk to either of us because we are acting like children, but he told me that what I said was fucking wrong, and apparently I was just trying to make him look like an idiot for having abandonment issues. ETA. Sorry, I forgot a detail that could be important. She's only held my daughter once, for maybe 3 minutes. She took her from my husband's arms, held her briefly, and then stuck her in her swing, saying, "If you hold her all the time, then she will get used to it and never want to be put down." I think my daughter was 4 days old. She hasn't held her since, but she's been here 8+ times, always to ask my husband to go to her house and help her with something. So she's been trying to get him away from the house so he isn't spending time with us. Another ETA. Some people are commenting on what I said to him being appalling. I do recognize that. And I'm going to be transparent here and say that I meant to say that, knowing it could lead to a trauma response. Here's the thing. I have tried getting him to go to therapy. He booked an appointment, but his mother convinced him not to go. After all, he doesn't need it, and I'm seeing a problem where there is none, and he could be doing something he enjoys instead. When my mother-in-law was telling him that he should skip state and leave me and the baby behind, he was nodding and saying right and agreeing that it was a good idea. He was considering it. So I purposely pulled at those trauma strings to make him see how fricked up this was and how similar the situation is to what his own mother did to him. She ditched the state, leaving her kid behind. She abandoned him. She made everyone believe that she was doing it for everyone's benefit, the same way she's trying to convince him it would benefit us. So did I do that on purpose? Yes. Was it fricked up? Also yes. But he needed to see it for what it was, and so far he hasn't. Maybe now he will. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Not the idiot. Maybe it's time for you to start packing up you and your baby's things so that he can see that you are serious. Did you cross the line by what you said? Maybe, but you were pushed. He still isn't making a decision, and he is still playing Switzerland by not speaking to either of you. That is not making a choice. Next time, tell him, if you don't want to be called out for your abandonment issues, go see a therapist and fix it. Fact is, he will never choose, so you are going to have to. So, mother-in-law will pull this crap until the day she dies if you stay around. Comment 2. Maybe some time apart will allow your husband to make his choice of what family he wants. The one with a woman who abandoned him, or a woman who wants to stand by and support him. What he can't do is inflict his mother on his child. If he isn't ready, then you need to be the one to make the choice for your child. You need him to be with you 100%. And if he can't do that, he should let you go, not the idiot. Now for the update. Hey everyone, thanks for all the comments on my last post. It's been a wild couple of weeks, and I've got quite the update for you all. After the blowout with my mother-in-law, things got really tense at home. My husband was caught in the middle, and I was worried that his mom's manipulation was going to win out. But then something unexpected happened. My husband's sister, the one who took him in after their mom gave up custody, called him out of the blue. She'd heard about the drama from a cousin and wanted to offer her support. She reminded him of how their mom had always been controlling and how she'd pushed him around his whole life. She told him it was time to stand up for his own family. That conversation seemed to flip a switch in my husband. He started to see his mom's behavior for what it was, manipulative and self-serving. He decided to go to therapy after all, despite his mom's protests. He found a therapist who specialized in abandonment issues and started going to weekly sessions. Meanwhile, my mother-in-law was still trying to worm her way back into our lives. She'd call my husband crying, saying she was just trying to help. But my husband was starting to see through it. He told her that he needed space to work on himself and that she had to respect our family's boundaries. The therapy was working wonders for my husband. He was becoming more confident and assertive. He even started making plans for his business again, this time without his mom's input. He found a local mentor who had successfully started their own business and was willing to guide him through the process. One day, my husband came home with a surprise. He'd secured a small loan to start his business, and he'd already found a perfect little office space to rent. He was beaming with pride, and I couldn't have been prouder of him. But the real test came when my mother-in-law showed up unannounced again. She started her usual spiel about how he should be doing things her way. But this time, my husband stood his ground. He told her that he was going to do things his way and that she needed to accept that or stay out of our lives. She was shocked. She tried to argue, but my husband didn't budge. He told her that he loved her, but he had his own family to think about now. And then, the most amazing thing happened. She broke down and apologized. She admitted that she'd been trying to control him because she was afraid of being alone. She said she was sorry for all the pain she'd caused. It was a jaw-dropping moment. We'd never expected her to own up to her behavior. My husband hugged her, and they had a long, emotional talk. She promised to try to do better and to respect our boundaries. Since then, things have been so much better. My mother-in-law has kept her distance, only visiting when invited. She's even started going to therapy herself to work on her issues. My husband's business is off to a great start, and he's happier than I've ever seen him. And as for our little family, we're stronger than ever. Our daughter is thriving, and my husband is an amazing dad. He's there for every bedtime story and every morning cuddle. We're a team, and we're building a beautiful life together, free from the control and manipulation that once threatened to tear us apart. My niece's lie unraveled our family, so I closed my doors. She played the victim, but the truth hit like a ton of bricks. I don't think I did anything wrong, but they are convinced I'm a jerk, so my brother wanted me to post here for unbiased opinions. So my 25-year-old female, brother Eric, 35-year-old male, married Mandy, 39-year-old female, about 5 years ago. Mandy has a daughter named Layla, 18-year-old female, from a previous relationship. When I met Layla, we clicked instantly. She was 13 and I was 20, and I felt like I was her big sister, even though she's technically my niece. Well, Layla was at my place, and it was a few days before her 18th birthday. I asked her what she was doing for it, and she said nothing much because she has to start looking for a job immediately. I was confused because she got a full ride to our local college, and my brother and his wife do well for themselves. Layla told me her mom and my brother sat her down and told her that after her 18th birthday, she has to move out. They told her that she will be an adult and it's not their job to continue supporting her. At this point, Layla started crying and hyperventilating. I calmed her down, but I was pissed. I told Layla she could move in with me. She was super psyched, and I said we could start moving her in whenever she wanted. Layla went home, and when her 18th birthday came around, she told Eric and Mandy her plan. Mandy was furious and was yelling at Layla that she needs to stand on her own 2 feet. Mandy would not stop screaming and actually lunged at Layla. Eric was trying to calm Mandy down, and Layla went to her room, grabbed her important stuff, and left. She called me, and I came and got her. The next day, Mandy shows up at my door and demands to be let in. I told her no. She started banging on my door, and I told her if she doesn't leave, I'm calling the cops. She left, and she sent Layla a text saying she was throwing all her stuff away and called her entitled. Mandy also sent me a text that I was out of line for getting involved in her parenting and that I should have checked with her before offering Layla a place to stay. I told Mandy if she wanted a say in what her kid does, she shouldn't have kicked her out. I also told her I'm a grown butt woman and I can offer my place if I want to. She started calling me repeatedly, so I blocked her. Eric says I need to just apologize for the sake of peace, but I think that's ridiculous. If anyone should apologize, it should be Mandy to Layla for how she treated her. Mandy is still really mad and is refusing to come to future family functions because nobody agrees with her. She said she will only come if I apologize, so my brother says I'm a jerk and causing all the problems. So what do y'all think? Am I the idiot? Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. You have nothing to apologize for. Your niece's so-called mother made the decision to stop parenting her child the minute she turned 18, so she has zero say in what she does after that. She sounds disappointed and angry that her child found a safe, comfortable place to live, almost as if she wanted her to struggle and suffer to be an adult. That's some messed up logic. Thank goodness you showed her compassion and gave her a chance to continue her education. Now she can be whatever she chooses and won't be held back by her mother's ridiculous opinions. Most definitely not the jerk. Comment 2. Not the jerk. Brother and sister-in-law are complete jerks that absolved themselves of responsibility, yet still want to maintain authority. They're both being dickbags to other adults while they are trying to interfere in others' lives. I absolutely wouldn't apologize because A, they owe the apologies in the first place, and B, you did nothing to apologize for. Furthermore, kudos to you for doing such a kind gesture to help your niece get her start in her adult life. Very commendable. Now for the update. Hey everyone, thanks for all the support on my last post. I've got an update for you. And let me tell you, it's been a rough couple of weeks. So after the whole blow-up with Mandy, things got even more intense. Layla's been staying with me, and we've been trying to get her settled in. She's been looking for a job, but it's tough out there. Remember how I mentioned she got a full ride to college? Well, she's been trying to balance job hunting with her classes starting soon, and it's been stressful for her. Now here's where things get really crazy. Eric came over to my place last week without Mandy. He looked like he hadn't slept in days. He told me he's been fighting with Mandy nonstop since Layla moved out. He confessed that he didn't agree with Mandy's decision to kick Layla out, but he felt trapped between supporting his wife and standing up for what he thought was right. Eric and I had a long talk about our childhood. We grew up in a pretty strict home, and our parents were all about tough love. But Eric always felt that they were too harsh, and he didn't want to repeat that with Layla. He admitted he should have stood up to Mandy sooner. The next day, Mandy showed up again, this time while Eric was still there. She was calmer, but still clearly angry. She said she felt betrayed by both of us. Eric finally stood up to her and said that they needed to find a compromise for Layla's sake. After a heated discussion, we came to a sort of compromise. Mandy and Eric agreed that Layla could stay with me until the end of the semester, as long as she kept up with her studies and got a part-time job. They also agreed to help her financially, but only with school-related expenses. Layla was relieved, but you could tell she was still hurt by everything that had happened. But wait, there's more. Just when we thought things were settling down, Layla found out that Mandy had actually followed through on her threat and thrown out a lot of her stuff. Layla was devastated. She had some personal items from her biological dad in there, and losing those hit her hard. Eric didn't know Mandy had done this, and when he found out, it was like a switch flipped. He went home and had it out with Mandy. I wasn't there, but Layla said she could hear them arguing from the street when she went to pick up some more of her things. Eric told Mandy that she had crossed a line and that he was considering everything, including their marriage. Now, Eric's been staying on our couch for the past few nights. He's been trying to talk to Layla to repair their relationship. Layla's been keeping her distance, though. She's polite to Eric, but you can tell she's not ready to forgive yet. As for Mandy, she's been sending me texts, trying to explain her side. She says she felt overwhelmed with Layla becoming an adult and didn't know how to handle it. I haven't responded. I'm still pretty mad about how she treated Layla. So that's where we are now. Layla's living with me, Eric's crashing on our couch, and Mandy's on her own, trying to figure things out. It's not perfect, but it's a start. I'm just trying to support Layla through all of this. She's got a lot on her plate with school and job hunting, and now all this family drama on top. I guess the only good thing that's come out of this is that Eric and I are talking more. We're trying to figure out how to help Layla together. It's not easy, but we're working on it. Best friend ditches me for her wedding, so I play second fiddle. She begs for help later, but the twist? I'm the last one standing. Me, age 26, and my former best friend Jean, age 23, met 8 years ago. From a young age, we were good friends. We did everything together and were there for each other in our ups and downs. 3 years ago, she met her partner, age 29, and they really fell in love. Every meeting of our group of friends, she wanted him to join. At first, we didn't like him, to say the least, but little by little, he became part of our meetings. 6 months ago, the same partner proposed marriage, and she said yes. Everyone was happy for her despite the problems she was in, and even though everyone thought it was too early and they hadn't thought about it deeply. When the preparations for the wedding began, everyone was ready to help. Even a mutual friend of ours, who was getting married a month before, wanted to help. A month ago, we asked her who would be her and her partner's groomsmen, because the wedding is near and there are still many things to do. There are things only the groomsmen can do in our culture. Her answer surprised us all. Wow, so have you chosen groomsmen yet? The wedding is near, and we have not received an update on who the groomsmen are. Oh yes, we chose 2 bridesmaids. Cool, who are they? Ruth and Elizabeth. Which Ruth? Dean's ex? Yes, since they broke up, we became very close. They broke up a month ago. How did you become such good friends? You couldn't stand each other. True, but since the breakup we have become very close and she comes to me every day. Okay, and who is the other one? The second one, is someone from work that I have known for a year. Everyone was surprised, but we respected her decision. During all the preparations for the wedding, she did not share anything with any of her close friends. A week before the wedding, she calls me and tells me that the groomsmen she chose blew her off because they gossiped about them. Me, sorry to hear. How can I help? She, do you know any drivers for hire? Now, me and the other friends don't care to help, but when she decided that she would rather spend money on drivers, none of the friends drink alcohol. Instead of asking us, a lot of people were hurt, including me. On the wedding day in the morning, she is under stress from everything that happened with the groomsmen, who had an important role. She calls me about 2 hours before the wedding and asks me to come quickly because she needs help and there is no one to help her. Me, in response, I can't leave my job early just because she needs me. It's not my job to do something that's not my job, and I was only invited as a guest. Asking to leave work because of something like that would not be considerate of the rest of my team. When the ceremony started, everyone expected me to be there for the bride and to try to make it easier for her. They expected me to do tasks that I am not responsible for, which I eventually did, of course. The day after the wedding, she sends me a thank you letter and tells me that I am the best friend in the world. In response, I told her that unfortunately, after she decided to throw away our many years of friendship for two people she knew for a year, we are no longer the best of friends. Now all the people around me tell me that, am I the idiot? Am I? Clarification. In our culture, being a bridesmaid is something big and a statement that says these people are the people I trust the most and have always been there for me in all moments. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. I don't know your culture, but from your clarification, it sounds like if you were truly best friends, you would have been a bridesmaid. She made it clear that you weren't her best friend by picking a woman she had known for a month and a woman she had known for a year over someone she's known for 8 years. Is she allowed to pick anyone she wants as a bridesmaid? Sure. Are you also allowed to feel hurt that you weren't one of them? Yes. Your friend made a choice, and now you can make yours. Not the idiot. Comment 2. Not the idiot. I wonder if any scientists have done any studies on what happens to the brains of many women when they become brides. If there isn't a medical change in their brains, they must actually just be awful people. It's amazing how you became her best friend when she wanted something from you. Forget about her, block her fickle behind, and move on. Now, for the update. Hey everyone, thanks for all the comments on my last post. I really appreciated the different perspectives. A lot has happened in the past 2 weeks, and I thought I'd give you an update. So after the wedding fiasco, things were pretty tense between Jean and me. We had been through so much together, from late-night study sessions in college to supporting each other through family issues. It was hard to believe that our friendship was on the rocks over something like this. But then, something unexpected happened. Jean's new husband, who had never really been my biggest fan, reached out to me. He said he noticed the tension at the wedding and wanted to clear the air. We met up at a local coffee shop, and he explained that Jean was under a lot of pressure from her family to pick certain people as groomsmen. He admitted that they should have handled it better and apologized for the way things turned out. I was taken aback. I never expected him to be the one to reach out. We talked for a while, and he shared stories about his own struggles with fitting into our friend group. It turns out he felt just as out of place as I did when Jean started bringing him around. I guess we had more in common than I thought. Meanwhile, Jean had been dealing with her own set of problems. The 2 groomsmen she had chosen, Ruth and Elizabeth, had caused a lot of drama. Ruth had started dating someone new, and it was causing issues with her ex, Dean, who was also part of our friend group. Elizabeth, on the other hand, had been spreading rumors about Jean at work, which Jean only found out about after the wedding. Feeling isolated, Jean reached out to me. She was in tears, apologizing for not choosing me as a bridesmaid and for not being there for me like I had always been for her. She explained that her family had pushed her to choose Ruth and Elizabeth because of their connections and status, but she realized too late that it was a mistake. We had a long heart-to-heart, and I could see the regret in her eyes. It reminded me of the time when we were teenagers, and she had accidentally spilled soda on my favorite book, She had been so apologetic, and we had laughed it off. It felt like we were back there again, just two friends trying to navigate the messiness of life. In the end, we came to a compromise. Jean agreed to make more of an effort to include me and our other friends in her new life with her husband. She also promised to stand up to her family more and not let them dictate her choices. In return, I agreed to let go of my hurt feelings and give her another chance. The past 2 weeks have been a whirlwind of emotions. Jean and I have started hanging out again, just like old times. We even had a movie night with some of our other friends, and it felt like nothing had changed. Her husband has been making an effort too, joining us for game nights and actually getting to know everyone. But the biggest surprise came just a few days ago. Jean and her husband announced that they were expecting their first child. The news brought everyone together, and it felt like all the past drama was forgotten. We were all excited for the new addition to our extended family. It's funny how life works out. 2 weeks ago, I thought I had lost one of my closest friends. Now, we're planning baby showers and painting nurseries. It's been a roller coaster, but I'm glad to say that Jean and I are back on track. And who knows, maybe her husband and I will become friends after all. If you like this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.